Hello and welcome. Here we are again, the Marianne and Corinna duo. And what are we talking about today? Oh, yeah, remembering who you truly are. Do you remember? I am beginning very slowly, beginning to remember who I truly am. And it's an interesting journey. I'm a body, I'm a being. They are together but not the same. Be with that for a moment. And what if we remember who we truly are actually leads to us losing our own self-judgment and our penchant for judging others or judging anything. This is right, this is wrong. They are good, they are bad. What if that is no longer necessary? If we truly are who we are. And that is an absolutely interesting journey. I am noticing how my self judgment, as I am on that journey, is getting less and less. And as a corollary, it's almost like the need to judge others. If I am willing to be the greatness that I am, why would I need to judge others? And being the greatness that I am is not synonymous with, oh, I am better than the others, or any of that kind of stance. No, I am great. If I can see my greatness, that allows me, interestingly, to see the greatness of others. And if I can see the greatness of others, why would I need to judge them? Really, not much of a ground to stand on. So, how do you see it, Marianne?
Oh, Corinna, how do I see it? So many things crossing through my head listening to you, and at the same time, it's gone in less than a second. So,
Yeah.
and that is a true space of being. Lately, I can be even when I'm sleeping. Somehow, I experience my sleep different, and I can't explain it. So, no judgment. It is as we are used to judge because it's part of how we grow up. It's part of that duality, it's part of separation, it's all part of. So, becoming more one with myself, how do I experience that is more, I can more and more embrace my shadow, my dark side, how you can call it. It doesn't matter how you call it. Let us say all the wrongness, everything I judge myself for, everything I make myself wrong for. It is still me. It is still me. And embracing that and getting clear on, but it is me. It is only the other side of the coin, in a way of speaking. It's the other side of myself. So when I embrace that and I literally let it, it's not turning around for me. It's not that I'm turning the things around. It's more like I allow myself to become friend with my own shadow. as invaluable, as
Mhm.
it is valuable because it is part of me, and when I embrace it, then I become more of me. And that movement, making that movement, I noticed that even yesterday, today, there was, when there are things, I'm going in that pilot of automatic pilot of trying, trying to judge it. I notice it, and no way, I can't stay in it any longer. It
Mm-hmm.
is like, yeah, but what the heck? What the heck? Even if it is something I judge by someone else, it is now like, no, 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 because I can see it, or I can notice it as wrongness because it's still some of me I'm projecting onto that. So, what if I can embrace it in myself? Then I don't have the necessity of
Yeah.
projecting it to the other.
Yeah.
So that oneness, that becoming one, what if we truly start with ourselves, become one, our light part and our shadow part, bring that together? How does that reflect and ripple out into
The work.
all the rest?
Yeah, I like that idea. And you talked about, sleeping. What I noticed is, um, I don't know what to call it. I mean, years ago, I would have called it lucid dreaming, but it's not quite on the same level, the same kind of dreaming. I may have conversations, I may um, explore a subject, and I know that my body is fully asleep because sometimes in the middle of the night, my bladder wakes me up, and it's sort of like I need to sit first because if you come out of a deep sleep, it's sort of like, whoa,
Yeah,
okay, here's my balance. Now I can get up and
yeah,
go.
yeah,
So that tells me that my body has been really totally sleeping. And yet there are those conversations and that exploration and whatever else is going on, thinking of other people, being connected to stuff that is going on in the world, all those things. And it's just blowing my mind. It's not something that I'm used to. It's totally new. And on some level, I enjoy it. On another level, I sometimes think, can I stop thinking now?
but that, Corinna, even that, what if that thinking isn't wrong? Because what if that thinking are the thoughts that are leaving you, the energies that are leaving you because they don't resonate any longer? Is it because we make thoughts wrong? Then we grab them and we have to do something with the thoughts, even if that doing is, can I stop thinking?
For me, it's coming more from a perspective of this is exhausting. Can I stop thinking now and just sleep?
Yeah,
No thoughts,
yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
And it's actually, it doesn't contain a judgment. It contains, if you want to say, a preference,
yeah, yeah.
you know. But where can we go? And what, on the other hand, there is also, I mean, you know that I'm a curious creature. there is also that curiosity. What is actually going on? What is changing in the world that I am picking up on? So many things, that so much changes for me. Da 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 da. You know, it's really interesting.
And this brings for me something in the front to acknowledge as now starting and having a lot less judgment. I notice also that all I am aware of, or that is going through my body, through my mind,
Mm-hmm.
that isn't mine, it
Mm,
goes so much faster now also because it's there is no need to grab it. That
to hold
that
on.
grabbing goes for me now in this moment, how I perceive it for myself. It is like, to judge it, nearly I have to grab it. I,
Yeah,
I have to grab it because when I allow it to flow, whatever it is, no time to judge.
comes in, goes out. That's it.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And by being infinite and everything is energy and is flowing and has that movement. When we become flow, when we become being as a river, flowing as a river, then I'm not controlling the river.
yeah,
Going, what if we can trust that the
yeah,
river, that movement always will bring us there to whom and what we require in every moment.
yeah. And that is something that, on some level, I find incredibly relaxing,
Yeah,
because I don't need to struggle. I don't need to do whatever. I can just relax and trust the universe that if I truly have an intention and am congruent with that intention, the universe, as of now, has been providing me with what I needed. I needed to hear about a person. I needed to read something, to get information. The universe has been providing step by step what
yeah,
it is that I need. Oh, okay, you now listen to that podcast. Now go over here and check this out. Go over
yeah.
there. And it's so wonderful. And
It
there
is,
is such
Corinna.
ease.
It is, Corinna, and how I experience it for myself also being that river is, that's, it's not that I'm water, but you know what I'm saying, being
Yeah.
that river, being that movement, also for me, it looked, there was a knowing that I'm not alone. I never felt myself alone as in solid in a cell in a little cell who doesn't
Mhm,
know
mhm.
anyone or whatever and not, no one is there. It's I never felt myself alone. On the other side, I am quite by myself
Yeah.
as not having people around me directly vibrating or going with similar point of views or it's not that connection, it's not that
Mhm.
congruency with what I love to explore and become more of me. So
Yeah.
therefore it is part of loneliness, without being lonely. It is more. And now, lately, the last few months, even, and that comes from that commitment to myself to explore everywhere I am not committed to myself and let it come into the front. And as you mentioned, then there are those whispers. Listen to that, read that, make a phone call, do an email, or whatever it is. And in that way, my world exploded in expansion in the last 2, 3 months, even though not yet vividly in presence connected with those people, but so much more connection because there are so more, yeah, there's so more people within that vibration that is really congruent with who I am in this moment and are willing to be. So there are conversations, even it is due to a record voice message or a written message, but there is so much more ongoing. And that brings me truly more alive, even in the world that I am choosing and I know of that is possible and that already started to actualize. And that is another world that what the mainstream and what the direct environment is willing to believe, as though that for me, I am aware it is there. And I know a lot of people are still hooking in and believing and whatever, but it doesn't affect me in any way any longer. Yeah. How do you experience those two
I
worlds
can fully
even?
relate to what you're saying. I mean, on the one hand, I have never felt alone
Mm,
because I can always connect to the earth. Doesn't
yeah,
matter where I am, what is going on, the earth is always there. That was a sort of like a ground for me. And
mhm,
at the same time, I did feel alone because even though people who, to some extent, have similar belief systems as I do, there still was a huge difference. And
yeah,
from that perspective, I felt alone because there was nobody else who was dreaming in the way that I am dreaming. And what I'm recently noticing, there are actually so many more people who are dreaming in the same way. And yes, there is some it, as much as it seems to be the same, there is a difference because each one is looking through their particular
of
lens,
course.
which
Yeah,
is wonderful because it's in that diversity that we really can enrich each other,
yeah,
that
yeah,
we can contribute to each other. And it's sort of like for me, when I hear somebody else and said, oh, darn it, I never thought about it from that angle.
yeah,
And that is expensive for me and enjoyable for me. And so I am beginning to wonder because with COVID, so much has been changing. Our lives have been changing. People are talking about when can we finally go back to normal. I am very clear, we're not going back to what used to be normal, what those people mean. There is going to be a new, maybe normal, if there is even a normal, and that's fine either way. But we are in that change. And how much is my discovery and seemingly your discovery too of people who are on similar lines of thought actually showing us how deep that change is going.
And can I add something to that, because it's now in coming up
Sure.
for not forgetting it. And so it is also when you said listening to other people, and then you got, oh, I didn't saw it from that angle or that lens, and immediately it wakes something up in yourself. And that is, for me, the richness in the moment, as all those different angles and lenses within the same vibration, same dream as it is individual, but it wakes up so much more memory in myself, due to remember more for myself, and not always I can give words to what I remember, but it is a sense, it is an opening up, it is, I can sense it in my
Mhm.
heart and in my whole body. And that makes that, is that more of me? Is that becoming more of that infinite energy I am? And before I wanted to look up as, oh, what was it? I was touched by that, or that, yeah, brought up this or this, and I would look up to
Yeah,
understand. While now it is like, oh, what if I receive all that energy and let the energy go and
transform.
do whatever is required to do? So as a sudden, I notice thoughts before, they aren't there any longer. Reactions, they went. It is as ease. It is as ease. And with little things, now lately in the last days, it comes, and I spoke to you yesterday during our preparation talk. It was like, whoa, it hit me in a way, becoming clear in which way my pure joy, I left it aside, because I was looking and going and graving deep and merging into something different, which still brought me a lot of joy. But the joy of my essence, my joy, who I am, that was, I
Yeah,
started to separate it from something. And due to hearing other people, speaking to other people, getting again those other lenses and angles, I remembered myself. I could remember my joy, the essence of my joy. So now I embraced it again, and whoa, it
it, it
completely changed everything again. And is that the true ease we can choose if we allow ourselves?
yeah. I mean, I'm surprising myself with, you know, hanging out in thoughtland, so to speak, perceiving, being present with the thoughts, the energies of those thoughts, and all of that. And as a sudden, out of nowhere, there is this incredible deep sense of, call it joy, call it happiness, call it contentedness. It doesn't matter to me. It's the energy that counts.
Yeah.
That is just wow, and so I enjoyed that part, that aspect.
And
And
did you notice, Corinna? Did you notice? Sorry, I interrupt you, but did you notice that? Wow, that relaxation that brings.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm keenly aware of that. And that is the beauty for me in that, really connecting to who I truly am. Because let's be honest, I mean, we're born, and pretty quickly we hear from our parents, oh, this, oh, that, oh, you should be, you are. And then it continues with extended family, teacher, friends, partner, spouses, you name it, you got it. We get and then society even gives us all the stories of
Yeah.
who we are supposed to be and what we are supposed to be, etc., etc. And if I really look at that, what does that have to do with me?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
can I allow another person that same level of freedom that they can explore who they are, who they
Yeah.
truly are, and the richness that that creates?
Exactly. And
And
the
for
more
me,
we go,
the,
go on.
for me, diversity has always been an incredibly rich and beautiful thing. So you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was like that. Remember myself is as I remember, then I know. For me, those two in the moment start to go together now. Also, the magic in that, as and I still go on with asking that question: what do I know about this? What do I
Mhm,
know? What is true for me? What is
mhm,
my truth with this or that? So it is an ongoing questionary path in a way, because questions opens up pathways to become more clear on things and to receive, etc., etc. It is going, letting go of that need of me guiding the way instead of
mhm.
choosing to be guided by the energy of who I am.
And allowing for the fact that the universe is a little bit bigger than me.
Oh,
Just a
do you
little bit.
think? Do you? Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And how much memory has the universe? And is that truly memory? That is something. That's a
What
question now for
if
me.
time doesn't exist there? And what if, I saw recently again as um, I don't know what to call it. They made it into a movie, but more of a not played by characters, played by people. That this is not our first time around, and we just have forgotten what the previous times were like. And what if I allow myself to tap into knowledge that comes from previous times? Maybe
Yeah,
not necessarily the whole lifetime, but experiences and uh, truly knowledge that I gained during that lifetime. Because, from my perspective, if this is not the first time around, looking at how long humankind has been on this planet, we've had a good number of lives. And considering the number, we probably were a lot of different people.
exactly. And this
Anything
brings for
from
me,
king to pauper, from helper to murderer to, you name it, you
exactly,
got it. And
everything.
just a choice that we make today, uh, probably maybe even based on what we experienced before, that somewhere we still have that knowledge that, oh, that wasn't a good choice, that's bad,
Mhm,
or that
mhm.
was a good choice, that's good,
Yeah,
without being aware of it. And is that where judgment comes from?
yeah. And it's not of the, we don't remember us, or, yeah, whatever we do with it, to, as they call the karma. Right? You come
Hmm.
here to justify or to arrange or whatever. But it's not that. What came up for me listening to you was that I had a point of view during my studies, hmm, all my life. I'm not interested. I don't like history in school. I didn't loved it.
Mm.
It was boring for me. It was somehow. But on the other hand, I was really curious about history, and listening to you now, it was, oh, it was that. I am not interested in the history as it is told and how they
Yeah,
teach us in school, because somehow knowing it isn't it isn't
true.
correctly it isn't
Yeah.
correctly and curious about how it was is going back to all those lives, gathering, remembering all those things. So, and as we see now, the history as in the linearity, how it is told and learned in
Hmm.
school, is not quite as it in truth was. So all the lies comes above now also.
I mean, that it brings up and a scene out of The Little Prince, the book.
Hmm.
History is true because I wrote it.
Yes.
And if you look at history, who wrote the history?
Yeah.
Usually the victors of any conquests, of any
Exactly.
wars, they made themselves the great ones, the good ones, and the other ones, the bad ones, the low ones.
Yeah.
So, what is true about that? I mean, I just need to look at today's history and how many atrocities have the victors perpetrated on the
Yeah.
ones that they fought. Uh, what is good about that? Somehow I'm maybe missing the point here.
Yes. And if we let guide us due to that type of history, then we trap ourselves into not
Yeah,
knowing, not remembering, because we rely on what is told as it is. It is written, it is there, so therefore it is.
therefore it is
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
And that was the thing inside myself that not matched with somehow what I knew. Nevertheless, I didn't knew really cognitively what I knew, but it was that about somehow it wasn't congruent. And
Hmm.
yeah, also that exploring now a lot more in allowing myself to listen to podcasts, listen to other people who are telling from memory, from themselves, not as making it the truth, as making it my history for I
Hmm.
heard it, but allowing to receive
Yeah,
everything, knowing that somehow, due to the lifetimes I had, it is possible I was part of some
oh,
of
that
that history.
particular. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
Exploration. And
Explorations.
what I can tell, Corinna, it seems like the more I remember, the more I become myself, the less judgment I have, but also it looks like the less brain I have. And the brain part of how it is seen
Yeah,
required to function in what they tell us you require to function in this.
according to, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you
So,
know, I absolutely concur with you because, as I told you just before we went live, that we had the conversation yesterday, and I have except for very small bits and pieces, I have absolutely no recollection of what did we talk about yesterday.
And it is the
And
same for
it's
me, but
fun.
I love it because it for me it is something like, oh, it is the conversation, but we both let move the conversation. It's not making that what we grew up and what we came up with, oh, that looks like the theme, but allowing ourselves that even that can change today. And what if, as we notice often, Corinna, isn't it that during the conversations at the end, sometimes we say, oh, but do you notice how much we already changed just by having our conversation?
Yeah,
And by changing, I mean not only changing for both of us, but changing on a greater scale.
yeah,
So, how
yeah,
beautiful is that?
exactly. So let's go and see what we cook up for next week.
Let's see,
And
let's
I
play.
am curious to find out. And what if we can be fresh or new or without history,
Yeah,
but being present with what is in each
yeah,
moment?
yeah,
That's what it's all about. Let's
yes.
play with it.
Let's play. And I invite everyone listening now afterwards, play with it and see what it brings you.
Yeah. What do
Explore.
you find out? What works
Yeah,
for you? What doesn't work for you? Do you experience it in any different way? And if you do, please let us
let us
know
know.
because we would love to hear that.
Yeah,
We're not
as we
fixed
will
on we
explore.
know the truth, and that is the only truth.
No, because we are open to explore then again for us and then
Yeah,
sharing again. And it can completely turn out in another subject. But hey, that is the
right,
fun of it.
exactly.
Yes.
So, thank
Bye
you,
bye.
everybody, and we'll see you next week, same time, same station.